Welcome to the invitation. The invitation is a conversation about what it means to be human. It's a conversation between two friends, and those two friends having that conversation, I'm one of the friends, my name is Michael Brown, and my other friend who's on the phone with me here is Linda Cameron. And just to tell you a little bit about me, I'm a spiritual life coach, and I'm an author of the book, You Are a Gift to the World. And you can find out more about me and what I do by going to changeyourlifecoaching.com or youareagift.com, where you can get a free video e-course and a free chapter of my book. And so one of the things I want to state today is that for this call today, that who I am when I am in freedom, who I am when I'm choosing freedom powerfully is a gift to the world. And so, my friend Linda, you want to check in?
Yes, hi. My name is Linda Cameron. I reside in the Washington, D.C. area, and I am a life coach, and I also do workshops with people in the community, and my specialty is having people be connected to one another. You can reach me at my website, tenderlovingcoaching.com, TLC.com, or you can call me at 301-520-6929. My email is la1cameron@yahoo.com. And when I am choosing freedom, I am the gift of love and compassion.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Linda. And so our topic today, yes, you guessed it, our topic today is Easter and the power of choice. And the intention of today's call is that you will experience the freedom of choosing powerfully. So I want to open up here with a quote by Tom Robbins, and this quote is him talking about choice. Choice. The word that allows yes. The word that makes no possible. The word that puts free in freedom and takes the obligation out of love. The word that throws open a window after the final door is closed. The word upon which all adventure, all exhilaration, all meaning, all honor depends. The word that the cocoon whispers to the caterpillar. The word that molecules recite before bonding. The word that separates that which is dead from that which is living. The word no mirror can turn around. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was choice. That's a quote from Tom Robbins that really sets the stage and opens up, what the power of choice is for us. And to continue to build on this and to tie it into Easter, because, this call is about Easter and the power of choice, I'm going to offer up a brief history of Easter that will give us a contextual background for what we're getting ready to go into. So, Easter is the oldest and most important Christian festival, marking the end of the fasting season of Lent and the death on Good Friday and resurrection of Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday. It has deeper and more complex associations than Christmas, particularly in the Orthodox Christian world. There are many customs and traditions associated with Easter, which, like most other holidays and feast days, are derived from a combination of both Jewish lore and pre-Christian and pagan practices. It's named after Esther, the goddess of fertility and birth, worshipped by first century pagans at the vernal equinox, who believed she would bless both the families and their crops. Christian missionaries saw this celebration took place around the same time of the resurrection of Christ, so they adopted Easter as a Christian holiday to increase conversion. Easter is also connected with Passover, which is a week-long Jewish festival that celebrates the exodus and freedom of the Israelites from ancient Egypt. So the other part of it is, what about, the big thing is, what about eggs and the Easter Bunny? So eggs, of course, are ancient symbols of fertility for obvious reasons. With the cedar meal incorporates a hard-boiled egg as a symbol of new life. The ancient Persians also painted eggs for Nowruz, their New Year celebration falling on the spring equinox. An egg has also been seen to be associated with the rebirth or resurrection of Christ. The custom of eating them also derives from the fact that they were forbidden during Lent. There are many rituals associated with eggs, mainly dating from medieval times in Europe, usually involving decorating, throwing, rolling, and hiding eggs for children to find them. The Easter Bunny, or the rabbit, comes from the hare, another ancient pre-Christian symbol of fertility associated with spring. But it gets even more complicated than that. Anglo-Saxon mythology says Estra changed her pet bird into a rabbit to entertain a group of children, and the rabbit laid brightly colored eggs for them. So that's somewhat of we can go on and on and on and on about the history of Easter. There's a lot of background about it, but I basically got that to give us a brief summary of Easter and the history of it, and then we're going to tie it in to choice. And so I'm going to pass it off to Linda here, and Linda, maybe you can tie Easter into the power of choice and choosing, and create the distinction for us between choice and decision.
Okay, so I'll start there, so that we can all understand that there is a difference between decision and choice. When we think about deciding something, we are concluding, or should I say we are concluding by giving victory to one side over another side, or by cutting off. You got that?
Yeah,
and
got that.
When we look at choosing, so when we choose, we are selecting freely from a number of possibilities. We are selecting freely from a number of possibilities. So it becomes clear that there are times in our life when we are deciding, when we are cutting something off and selecting something, and giving one side the victory over the other. And we can think of many occasions when we have done that, I'm sure. And then there are times when we feel at choice. And we go, wow, I'm going to choose that. And then we live with that choice with no regret, because you chose it. And you weren't, quote unquote, trying to please somebody else. You didn't feel like that was the best thing to do, or it's better than nothing, which is all pointing to deciding. And so, you get that distinction, Mike? Any questions around that before we move on? Is that clear?
Yeah, I do have. That is clear, and I think maybe just to create more, clarity with the distinction, like what's coming up for me, what I want to ask you is that maybe if you have an example either in your own life or maybe with one of the clients you work with to further, clarify that distinction between choice, to select freely and decision, which is to cut off from. Do you have an example of that?
Sure.
It comes up to you?
I can think of a couple examples, but I will start with this one. I was looking to have a change in my career, and I wasn't really sure exactly where I was going to go. I knew that I have a capacity to connect powerfully with children, and I have been doing that in the past. but I wasn't really sure if that's what I wanted to continue to do. And I have a lot of interest, and so I looked at other things that interested me, and so I said, well, I could do this, or I could do that, or I could do this, or maybe I could do that, or maybe I could do both of these things. Was all over the place, trying to come to a place where I knew what resonated with me. And so I couldn't decide. I couldn't choose. I just didn't know what to do. So at this point, I did what I always do. I said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. And I'm just going to be. And then in that moment, I'm going to know exactly what I need to do. So I decided I'm going to go and volunteer working with teens while I figure it out. And that way I could be of service to somebody, at least. So I went there to this place in my neighborhood called Safe Passages, and I volunteered to be a mentor. And in that process, I wasn't pressured to choose something or to decide something or whatever. In that process, things were revealed to me, and I knew clearly what my choice was going to be. And I think this part is really important. So I knew, like I'm going to continue to work with kids, just older kids. So I'm choosing to stay in the field that I'm in terms of standing for children and their greatness, but I'm just going to do it with older children. So I chose that freely, with an open heart and with excitement and joy. I didn't feel like, well, I have to do this because, I'm running out of time and, da-da-da. But what's even more important, I think, is I didn't know how that was going to actually turn out. I didn't know what it was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I chose it without having all of that stuff. I chose it because it resonated with a part of me that has me be connected to others. So I chose it. Now, so sometimes what happens is we don't choose something powerful because we're wondering how is it going to work? How will it show up? How will it be manifested? What am I going to do exactly? I didn't even have all of that. I just said I choose to continue working with children because that is where my passion is, and I choose it powerfully. I'm going to work with teens. I didn't have a clue what was the next step. So I think it's really important to realize if you get the why, the how will come. Why I chose that was because I have a passion for children, and I feel most connected to that higher part of myself when I am serving children.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all I had was the why, and that was enough for me to choose it and choose it powerful. And then the how, we'll see about that. And the how was revealed to me over time. But when you choose something powerful, you don't really fret it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fret it. You just walk into it.
I got that.
And it unfolds.
I got that. So that sounds like the one side of the coin, which is choosing to select freely after consideration. And so the other part of that is making a decision, right?
Right.
Like
so why don't you tell us, Mike, give us an example of that, when you decided something and whether than chose it, so we can see both.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'll use a really good example about something I decided, and this is something that occurred earlier in my life. It's actually, when I was in 8th grade. In 8th grade, I didn't do really well in school. I didn't really apply myself, so I ended up, flunking and failing the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this very distinctly because when I failed the 8th grade, if you can imagine this, I failed. And this is the the cutoff line between the 8th grade and then you go into high school. It's a whole other school. It's a whole other building. So all my friends went to this other school, this other high school, which, by the way, is by my house. And then the other school, the middle school, I had to go back there again for another year. So every day I'm like walking down the street and I have to walk past my friends and they would see me and look at me and, I was feeling humiliated. But, to make a long story short, at that moment in time, when I failed 8th grade, I made a decision about myself. And the decision that I made is that I'm not smart.
Mm.
I'm not smart. I'm not smart. I'm not smart enough. And what that did is when I made that decision that I'm not smart, it cut off all kind of possibilities for me for being smart, for being intelligent, or whatever that means, whatever that meant for me, for going into the realm of learning and education. Because I basically took all education, anything that looked like, books or studying or anything like that, and I just threw it all away.
Mm.
I said, it's not for me. I'm not smart. And so that was a decision. I cut all that off. And I said, I'm not doing this. I don't do this. And it's really a big thing to cut off from because, that kind of learning, I'm sure other people have this same story as well. When you cut yourself off from, books and learning that way, you are really cutting yourself off from a whole entire world.
Mm.
And so, if you can imagine this, I didn't actually read my first full book until I was like 26 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't. I just didn't think I could read a whole book. I mean, I knew how to read, but I just had a whole conversation around books and studying that, I'm not smart enough.
Mm.
And so, even the way I got to the other side of that was really not. I didn't really have an empowering context for it. I just pushed through it. Like I did end up going through college or whatever. But even my whole reason for going to college and studying and getting a degree, it was all to prove to myself that I'm actually smart.
Wow.
And I remember the day, Linda. So, I cut this whole area of my life out. I'm not smart. And to me, what smart was the people who go and study and get A's, right? So, I went to college at like 25 years old, and I plowed through it. Like I just applied myself and studied real hard, and I drove myself. And I did well, and I got through college, and I earned a scholarship, and I got my degree. And I'll never forget that moment when I got that piece of paper, that degree, and I was holding it in my hand. I'm looking at that piece of paper, and it was an odd moment in time because I thought that piece of paper that means you're smart now. Having a degree, I really did. And so I'm holding it, I'm looking, and I'm like, nothing really changed here. I just got a piece of paper. Like, what changed? There's no. I expected a big, huge change to occur, and it just wasn't like that. I mean, I felt good. I was proud and all that. But in that moment, I realized I was always smart the whole time.
Wow.
All the way from 8th grade. I already was. But I just made that decision that I was.
But you were not. Mm.
No, that I was not. And it was not an empowering context. Even though I got a degree out of that context, it was, I didn't really go through that joyfully.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't live my life through, it was like pounding through.
Right. So
I
you
think
weren't,
that's
you weren't, there was no freedom, sounds like, there for you.
no, there was not. There wasn't choice. It wasn't choice.
Mm-hmm.
It was a decision that I made.
And so let's just ponder this, Mike. Imagine if you had made that through choice, what you could have accomplished, what that would have been for you.
Absolutely. It would, it would have been a whole different type of experience. It would have been a whole different learning. And I'm grateful for it. I'm not, I'm not looking back and saying, oh, that's. And I want to be clear when we're talking to people about this, because sometimes people hear these things and they think, oh, choice is the good thing and decision is the bad thing. It's not. That's not what this is about. It's not about good or bad. It's just about the context. It's about the context that we create that we can live our life through. You can live your life through empowering context of choice, of actually choosing. And you can live your life through this empowering context of making a decision, and this is the way it is. Whenever you have that, whenever you hear yourself saying that, Linda, or when I'm coaching people and I say they're saying always and never, or this is the way that it is, I know they have a disempowering context. And they decided something. It's always this way, or it's never that way, or that's the way it is. Something is so fixed in their mind. And by the way, it's in their mind. It's usually not in reality. There are fixed things in reality. Don't get me wrong. Gravity is a fixed thing. Things fall to the ground. We got that. But with our thinking, we have fixed ways of thinking that we say that's the way it is. I am not smart. I had that as a way of fixed thinking in my mind, the way I was relating to myself. And it's not an empowering context. Doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's the way that it was. It's fine. But at any given moment in time, you can recreate an empowering context for yourself and live that way. Nothing might actually change externally, but the way that you're going through it, I still would have went through college, but I would have had a different experience of it.
Right.
Totally different. You were saying
the interesting thing is, the thing is, guess what? You get to choose. And if you say, no, I don't choose that, then you don't have to choose. You have to experience that.
Yeah.
And so you get to have it. Yeah. So no bad, wrong, or whatever here. It's just that we want to bring awareness.
Right.
To the moments when you are feeling like you are out of power.
Right.
And then when the moments when you are feeling inside of power, inside of freedom. And just let you be aware of those different experiences.
Totally. And, there's another thing I want to say about choice, because one of the things I always say, and I think this is, important to mention in the stories we just shared and where we're going with it. One of the things I always say is that you're free to choose. You're free to select, you're free to choose, but you're bound to do it. Because of the way that we move time in the present moment, you cannot not choose something. You cannot not choose something, like not making a choice. A lot of times people think that they're not choosing, but the way that we move, through time, it's like this moment, and this moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. There's always another choice that's being made. And
right, you're never not in that position.
You are never not in that position. And trust me when I say this, in the moment, whatever choice you're making, you are fully committed to it, whether you think you are or not. You got that? So even if you're in the moment, you're saying, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, you're choosing something, and you're fully committed to that. I don't know what to do.
You're choosing
because you can't get away from the next moment. It's here. Bam, bam, it's here. Bam, it's here. Bam, it's here. And that's the way life comes at us, there's a choice. 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 But when we have fixed ways of seeing the present moment, the fixed ways like I'm not smart, and that's the context that I'm living in the moment, then it appears to be that there's less choice in the future. When there's really there's a whole world in the future. There's tons of choices. But in the moment, you're choosing something. Like even right now, as I'm talking, I'm choosing to talk right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm committed.
So I think
Even
what you
if a
said was
person
important.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think what you said is important. It's the context.
Uh-huh.
It's the context.
Totally context, because you can create that.
Right, it's the context. And so, and really being aware of, like, what's the context in this moment that I'm going to do A, B, or C. And you can feel that. Even if you don't have all the words and you can't analyze it, you can feel that.
Yes. You know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it feels like to be powerful and to be lit up and have something that resonates with you.
Yeah.
And you know what it feels like when you... Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I just want to bring this back, bring this down to earth a little bit, Linda, and that, we're not talking a foreign language here when we're talking context. Let me say this to the folks out there listening, is that even whoever's listening, you know what another human being's context is almost by looking at their face and by the way that they're talking. People radiate their context out loud. They could be like, their face could be all down and sad, and it's like, nobody loves me. I don't know what to do. I'm in a hard place, and that is their context, and it's created, and they're committed to it in the moment. It's their context, and you see other contexts. People are smiling. I go see this guy at the pool every day, and this guy's like, "Hey, how you doing, Mike?" And he's like saying hello to everybody, and he's walking around smiling. And I'm like looking at this guy like, I want to be more like this guy. He's got he doesn't even know that. I told him that, and he's like, wow, I didn't know that. He doesn't even know he has it, but he does. Like, he's just it. He's it.
Mm-hmm.
He's in it. He's generating it, and he's choosing it in every moment. He's smiling at everybody. He's talking to everybody. And I tell you, when you see a person like that, when I see a person like that, it, like, gets me present to myself in the way that I'm being. Like, I just go in the pool, and I have like a narrow focus, and I'm going in the pool. Don't talk to me. I'm getting in the pool and I'm exercising. I just got to go and do it. And this guy, he's like wide open, and he's celebrating and talking to everybody. Everybody knows him. He knows everybody. And I walk in there like, don't get in my way. Don't get in my way. I got to get in the pool. I got to swim.
Mm-hmm.
And you see people like that, and it just makes you present to that. And I went up to him, talked to him, and said, hey, man, I want to be more like you. I love the way you... And I seen that guy the next week, and he came to me and said, hey, man, I really want to thank you for saying that. Like, I thought about that for a long time, and nobody ever said anything like that to me.
Wow.
And thank you for saying that. Yeah. He was like, well, I was like, dude, you are, and you're my role model. I want to be more like, I want to create a context like that. I want to come in here like, hey, how's everybody doing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just a choice, because this is the other thing I want to say is, like, sometimes we can get caught up in feelings, not that feelings aren't important, you know what I'm saying, but we can start to say, well, I don't feel like that. No, I don't feel like smiling at people, and I don't feel like saying, hey, how's everybody doing? And so, and I know this for myself, Linda, is that I live most of my life being dragged around by what I'm feeling, or even what I'm thinking. But what I'm telling you is that whether you feel like it or whether you think it or not, you can just simply, like, generate that energy. You can just choose to be in that context of, like, hey, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily have to feel it. Now, I know some people say, well, that's, I feel like it's fake, or, that's not authentic, or, and that's one of those things I encourage you to fake it until you make it. You're right. Maybe it won't be, but it can become real. And one of the things I know this through is, like, I'm a laughter yoga instructor, and I do laughter yoga. I think I told you about this, Linda. And one of the things we do in this practice is that we just do laughing exercises. We're like, ha, ha, ho, 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 ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. And we do this in a group. And what happens is, invariably, at the end, we encourage people just like fake the laughter. And say, just do the exercise. There's no talking in the exercise. Just do it. Linda, by the end of that, we are all laughing uncontrollably. And we don't even know why. You don't even have a reason why. We're just like in laughter. And it's a bizarre thing. It's like, why am I laughing? Why am I laughing? It's, you hear other people laughing and it triggers you and you're laughing. You're like, oh my God, I'm laughing. And it's wonderful, and it just lets you know that you can create states of being like that, like right out of the blue. Like right out of thin air. You don't have to wait 10 years. You don't need 10 years of therapy to be happy. Really don't.
You can generate that.
Totally. So what's present for you, Linda? What's coming up with you?
What I just said, the whole process of generating, and I don't think a lot of people realize that they can generate what they want to experience. And I think it's the same as kind of like setting the context, or reframing, as some people call it. But I was talking to a friend of mine who's a professor, and she says that in order to get up and teach class in front of a bunch of freshmen on days when you've had a horrible weekend, or you've had, some grim news, or you're exhausted or whatever, but when you stand in front of those kids and you are introducing them to a subject in terms of their education, you have to generate excitement. You have to generate possibility. You have to generate, this is an opportunity for you to learn. And she gets to do that every day.
Yeah.
So she really gets that.
And this is an important thing. I'm glad you said this, Linda. There's one thing I want to note, and I know you know this, but I'm just going to say this. Like, you just said, when she gets up, you have to do this and you have to do this. I really want to address that have to, because when people hear that sometimes, then they feel like this is really important, because this is what I want everybody to know. You don't have to do anything. Like you don't have to do it that way. Now, if you want to generate something, you can choose to do it that way. But in life, there really is no have to. That's something we make up. Like I have to do this, or I have to do this. And I even know for myself, I do it to myself. But when I get caught up in the have to game, then I start to feel not empowered. The whole have to game can create a disempowering context where it's like, I'm not choosing this anymore. I just have to do this.
Now, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree with that slightly.
Okay.
Because when you have made a commitment to something, out of hopefully a place of love and compassion, and your belief that you can make a difference,
yes,
you're not going to always feel like you can make a difference. You're
not
going to always feel like being committed in a way that you are really up to something powerful.
I got that.
And in those moments, that's when you really do. In those moments, you have to generate. Now, you can simply say, I don't care what my commitment was. I don't care what my stand was. I don't care what I, considered in terms of making a difference. I don't care. I'm just not going to do it. That is obviously one thing you could actually do. You could choose to say, to hell with my commitment, to hell with what I said, right? Or you can say, because this is my life, and I am a person who honors life, even though I don't feel like honoring it today and honoring my word and honoring my commitment, I'm going to generate it and make it possible.
Totally.
So for
I
some
got that.
people, they may look at that as, oh, I'm not at choice here.
Right.
But personally for me, it's like if I had a child and my child is sick and my child needs medical attention, but I don't feel like getting out of bed
Mm-hmm.
because I'm exhausted because I worked out last night.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I can say, you know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to get up and get my child medical care because I don't feel like it. And I don't want to have to do that because I should, or because
Right.
my child needs me, or because that's what you do when your child is ill. I don't want to have to do that, so I'm just not going to do it. And there are people who do this, by the way.
I know. I got that. I totally
And
got
I'm
that.
saying to you in that moment is when you can use the ability to generate.
Totally. And,
You can
and
generate
I totally,
in that moment exactly what you need to be for yourself and what you need to be for that child.
And I totally agree with you on that. And let me just say that there can be a step in between that, between what comes up for you, like I don't want to do this, and I don't feel like doing it, and I don't have to do it, to generate it. And that step in between is an acknowledgement, like acknowledging yourself. Like sometimes if you just get yourself and you just say, you know what, I get that I don't have to do this. It doesn't mean that you're going to choose not doing it. It just means that you can get that. I do that with myself sometimes. Sometimes I catch myself saying, I have to do this. And then I just say to myself, Mike, you don't have to do it. You really don't have to do it. And so when I get that, when I get myself in that way, or if I say I don't feel like doing it, I'm like, yeah, Mike, and I say to myself, Mike, I get you don't feel like doing it, and you don't have to do it. And then from that place, then generate. Because there's something really powerful about getting yourself in that way. You know what I'm saying, Linda? Where you just kind of acknowledge it, then you can move into the, to the generating or creating what you want to be in that moment. So, and then it is powerfully choosing. It creates I think it creates the further context for powerfully choosing.
Right, because I think people have to really know that you are not your feelings. That you have feelings.
Oh my God, Linda, that's a huge one. That is a big one. Like that's something I'm still dealing with. And you can hear it with the way people talk about this in language. I catch myself the way that we talk about it in language, and you listen to people. I'm talking to everybody out there who's listening, and I know you know this as well, and I'm talking to you too. We're having a conversation, but listen to the way people talk. I catch myself. Like sometimes, you might say, I am angry. There's I am angry, and there's I feel angry. There's a big difference between those two things, between I am angry and I feel angry. There's a whole world of difference between that, because one is just a feeling that I'm having, and the other one is like a declaration of who I am. I am angry. And people will take that on. They will take on I am angry or I am sad, and they will take it on, and it becomes the context. It becomes the realm. It becomes the framework through which they view the entire world. They don't know it, but they're declaring it, and they're living in that. If there's any, and if you're one of those persons and you catch yourself saying that, I'm telling you, the power of language is powerful. And you just say something like, I am angry, or I am sad. And look, I'm not trying to take it away from you. I know sometimes people might hear this and say, you can't tell me what, I'm not telling you that. If you go from saying like, I am sad to I am feeling sad, or I'm feeling angry.
You know what some of this came up for me, Mike?
I'm going to go.
How many times have you heard a human being say, I am love?
Not many.
That's interesting, huh?
That is interesting.
That is really interesting.
Or I am
Now,
loving.
that would be a powerful declaration of the self.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever heard someone just stand up and say, I've heard plenty of people say, I am mad.
Yeah.
I am upset.
That's who they are. They don't know that they're saying that, but they're saying that's who they are. Now, I've heard people say, I am in love.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, I have a friend named Gemma who says that if you're in love, at some point you're going to be out of love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right.
So you
saying I am
need to
in
be
love.
very careful.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Because saying I am in love creates the context for being out for being out of love.
At some point.
But if you say I am love, you stand in that and you proclaim that,
Mm-hmm.
then you are. You will be. And that's a powerful one. I'm going to use that one for myself, and it's crazy you said that, because I don't even think I know we work with affirmations and intentions, a lot of coaches, but I don't think I've said that one for myself. You know, I'm declaring that now, that I am love. Right here, right now in this moment, I declare I am love.
And that's what I say. I am the gift of love and compassion.
You do say it.
And I really believe that I am.
I know. I really believe you are, too. I declare that I am a gift to the world. But I like that one. I am love. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's inspiring. That's inspiring. That's a beautiful concept.
It is. Very much so. So this brings us to looking at why would choice be relevant to Easter?
Yeah, why would choice be? I was just thinking of that myself. But it's like we think alike, Linda. So it's a weird, bizarre. You know, just to share with you guys out there, me and Linda, this is why part of me and Linda created these calls, because sometimes we have this like weird experience of being like one mind, and it's like, you know. Anyways, I guess we created that to the context of our relationship. But go ahead, Linda. What do you got?
That is true. So when I think of Easter, I think of it symbolically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about a death. You're talking about a life, a death, and a resurrection. Right? You're talking about a being born anew. You're talking about the glorious promises of eternal life.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about love and compassion. You're talking about forgiveness. You're talking about courage. You're talking about choosing to take on the challenge of bringing love and compassion to all that seek it, and choosing whatever the consequence of that will bring to my human self, to my physical self, and to the world. So it was a personal choice. So God says to Jesus, I have this journey for you. And at the end of this journey, you have to choose to give up your life to complete it. And he chose to do it. And that personal choice is symbolic because it is an example of when you stand for something, such as love and compassion, as Jesus did, and reaching out and connecting to all forms of life, rejecting none. Knowing that by doing that, you were going to anger some people, because there are some people who had said some life is not as valuable as others. And that's just the way it is. And Jesus says, I don't happen to have that context or that view of life. I see all of it as meaningful and all of it as valuable. And so I'm going to tell everyone that who will listen.
Yeah.
That your life has value. And not only does your life have value, the love that you have inside of you can redeem you and redeem us. And so I am going to be an example of that. I'm just not going to talk about it. And so in choosing to be a yes for that journey is a powerful example. If I am willing to literally give up my life just to be an example so that your eyes can see what love and compassion and standing for it being present in the world. If it means that much that someone is willing to give up all that they have, and including their life, then this must be worth seeking. This must be a journey that I should at least consider. And choosing to not have material things and not be possessed by possessions, choosing to really be cast aside by the elders in his community who said, you can't speak against the Roman emperor. You can't speak against these powerful people. Who do you think you are? And he said, I'm not speaking against them. I'm speaking for life.
Right.
I mean, it's a powerful, powerful journey.
It
was a personal choice. He was giving the choice to do, and because he could have fled when there was a word that went out that they're coming for you, that they're going to lynch you, and he was surrounded by his disciples, and they said, let us hide you out. And he said, no, let them come from me. Like, every time I think about that, I am literally humbled. He said, let them come from me. I will not hide out. I choose to stay here and to continue standing for what I believe in. Let them come. And so he kept right on speaking up until the moment they actually came and got him. And he said,
wow,
you don't have to take me. I will walk. And he walked to his death. And then he asked that they be forgiven. So he chose, even in that moment, he chose the context of forgiveness. And so, to put a bow on this, as you like to say, Mike, so this person who chose to stand for what he believed, chose not to run away, chose the ultimate sacrifice, he is gone from us physically. But the power of him and the power of his choice remains today.
Yeah.
And I just think, I don't have this, I guess, biblical connection necessarily to him, but as a historical figure and a spiritual figure, I think you can't even imagine what a powerful symbol that is for me. And, inside or outside of the context of religion. If I were just to tell you that story and then mention, which I don't think I did actually mention the Bible, did I?
No,
but,
and that's fine. I mean,
yeah. Right. But if I just tell you that story of a human being doing that, you are like, wow, that is a powerful, it leaves you feeling inspired. You don't feel sorry for him?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the most, no, it's a very inspiring story.
Yeah. You don't feel sorry for him. Don't we usually feel sorry for people who get murdered? But we don't feel sorry. We don't feel pity. We feel inspiration. We feel like in awe. And, I mean, there are many stories like that. You can look at Dr. King's life. You can look at Mother Teresa. You can look at all these people who literally say, I am compassion. I am peace. I am justice. And stood in that context and sacrificed their physical bodies for that.
Yeah.
And chose to do it. People are saying, they're going to kill you if you keep saying this, Dr. King.
And thank you for that, Linda. That is, I just want to add to what you're saying, because I think this is really important. And what's being created here right now is that when we look at those people, those, and Jesus was a person too, by the way. And I know some people like to think he wasn't, but he was a human being.
He was a human being. He was a young man.
Martin Luther King was a human being. Gandhi was a human being. And really what these people, now what we do in our culture, and I really want people to get this, is that we look at these people and we make them non-human somehow. We make them far above us, way beyond what we could ever possibly do. But really what they represent, what Jesus did, what Martin Luther King did, what Gandhi did, what Mother Teresa did is, it holds a light, it holds a flame of the possibility in our own heart of what's possible for human beings. For you are a human being, if you're listening to this call. And whatever they did is possible. It is possible for you. Even Jesus himself, and I just happened to pull this out here as you were saying this, Jesus said, and I'm quoting Jesus, from the Bible, Jesus said, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And, Jesus is saying right there, he's saying it. And there's no deeper reading into that. He's saying, what I have done, you will do, and you will do greater things than these. They are examples, not to be put on a pedestal.
Right. That's why it's symbolic. Jesus, right. That's why Jesus' life was symbolic, yeah.
Yes. And, he said it himself.
Many times.
In their own way. All of them are saying, they're saying, you can do this too, and even more than this. Even greater works than these. The possibility of what we can do and the stand that we can be for other people and making a difference in humanity and life would be even greater than Jesus by his own words.
Right.
He said that. And we hear that and say, oh no, we shrivel. No, not me. Yes, you. Yes, you. And here's the thing, it brings us really back to choice. Because it's about choosing it. You can choose it or not choose it. And I want to be really clear about this. Whether whether you choose it or you don't choose it, it doesn't make you good or bad or right or wrong. I know we like to get caught up in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get caught up in that game really easy. I didn't choose it. I didn't choose it. I'm a bad person. I'm a sinner. I'm going to go to hell. All this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Because I'm telling you, you can choose it now. I can choose it. And you can choose it. And stand in that. And create that as a context. We're creating that as a context now. You know, that whatever works Jesus has done, we as human beings will do greater works than that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's pretty powerful. That is phenomenal, actually. And, you know, it's a little eye-opening, too. You know, it's like, whoa, I get it. I get it myself, you know. It's like, whoa, what does that mean? What does that entail?
Mm-hmm.
You know, as we create that context, what it entails, it will occur to you. It will come up. And you'll know what to do. Because a lot of times we get caught in this, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. When you create that empowering context, you know, when you create an empowering context, what you do will be obvious. When your context is the freedom of choosing powerfully, then you will just do what you do. It'll be right there and you'll do it. Or choose it. Or you won't. Or you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or you won't. Like,
Mm-hmm.
And it's really important that we take the bad and the shame and the I'm bad if I do it, I'm bad if I don't do it, out of it. Because when we can pull that out of our context of what we're creating, you'll fly. You'll fly to it. And you don't have all that shame and blame and I'm bad and I'm good in your conversation. You will be accelerated and propelled into action. You'll just find yourself in it, moving to it. You know, doing greater works than Jesus. And for those of you who think that's blasphemy, I'm quoting him. You know, I'm quoting him.
And let's have it be known that there are certain entities that are invested in having you not seeing them as those people as human.
Oh yeah, totally. There totally is. There totally is. And whatever context is created is going to include them.
Mm-hmm.
An empowering context is always going to include all human beings, even the ones that we say are the bad ones. Even the ones that we say are doing, they're part of it. They're part of it.
Yeah.
And you know, Jesus did that too.
Definitely.
Totally. Did that. Everybody sat at his table.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody sat at his table. I mean, that's powerful right there in and of itself. You know, I think of my own life, and, you know, I could think there's people I don't want to sit at my table, literally.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, Linda? Everybody sat at his table.
Right. Because
Everybody.
that was his choice. He chose that.
Yeah. Yep.
He chose to have that experience of life.
Yeah. People betrayed him. He's like, I know. I see. He didn't shame them, punish them, make them bad, make them wrong. Jesus just didn't do that to folks. Yeah, I don't know how people get that out of the Bible, man, because he just didn't do that ever. You know what I'm saying?
I think
He just did not
that's
do
a
that.
decision. That's a decision that we make, that we have to make ourselves feel better than we have to make other people feel bad.
Yeah. It starts to create a hierarchy.
And it's usually short-lived. Like you have to keep doing it over and over. It can't sustain itself.
Yeah. And, here's the important thing, because I think that's part of being human, or the way that we've been being human. Because, we're having a conversation here on what it means to be human, and hopefully altering that. Because, part of being human has been, to make other people wrong. I'm going to make you wrong so I can feel better about myself, and then you're going to make me wrong so you can feel better about yourself. And, look what's happening in the world today right now, folks. That's just happening right now. Like, people are dying because of that. Because of that. I'm right and you're wrong. It's happening. Okay? There's a real consequence to that. There's a real impact. Because of what people are thinking, and that's just that's incredible to me sometimes. It's just like, wow, really?
Yeah.
Now there's something to stand for. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It is very powerful, actually, to be able to stand, in that space. And,
totally.
And at any moment we can choose that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about choice, I think the most beautiful thing about this context for me is that I know that I can choose again.
Yes.
Like, that is very empowering for me and uplifting, because I know that even if I decided yesterday that life sucks and people are worthless, I know at any moment I can shift and choose a different context. And I can do that anytime I want. I can do it anytime I want. And, like, to me, that is some juicy stuff.
It really is. It's not fixed. It's not like a stone.
Exactly.
It's not like a brick. Here's the thing, I want people to get this, is that, we're talking about thoughts and feelings. Thoughts are very, very, very malleable. And they impact, languaging and thoughts and words and emotion is a very, very malleable energy, ladies and gentlemen. Very malleable. It means it can move around quickly in an instant. But we behave as though that thoughts and emotions are solid as rocks. Like, we're bricks. And they can't be moved around. Like, I am mad. And it's like a brick. But it's not. It's just not what it is. And I agree with what you're saying, man. Just to say what you're saying, and like bring that in. Like, yeah, life sucks. That's the way it is. Look around. People relate to that thought, life sucks, as though it is a solid object. It's a solid door or something. It's an immovable object, and it's just a thought pattern in your head that you have collected a lot of evidence to prove. Oh, I'll tell you why. So I'll tell you why life sucks. Oh, okay, tell me why. You could write a whole book on it. And you have all your proof. and then it seems to be more solid. But all you did was just offer up more thoughts, more interpretations, more thought forms and emotions. It's all very malleable energy. Malleable. Malleable means you can move it around easily. You can alter it. You can transform it on a dime in an instant. That's just the way I am. There's a thought. It's not just the way you are. It's just the way you are because you say it's just the way you are and you relate to that's just the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. But so, Linda, I think we're coming to a close here because we're a little bit past an hour there, so I want to kind of wrap it up. Is there anything you want to say in closing this? I know we. I want to
conclude with a little story about a butterfly.
Oh yeah. Let's hear the butterfly story, Vic.
Okay. There was an oak tree about 2,000 years old, sitting still as oak trees do, and a butterfly landed on one of the branches of the oak tree, and the butterfly began to weep and moan and groan and complain and fuss and kept going on, and it's just bantering with itself. And so finally the oak tree could stand it no more. And the oak tree said, "Can I help you? What is going on? Is there anything I can do to help you?" And the butterfly said, No, you can't help me. There's nothing anybody can do, blah, 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 blah. And he kept crying and crying and crying and crying and complaining and just being upset. And then the oak tree said, "Well, at least let me hear what is bothering you. Maybe that will help." And he goes, "Well, it's just that I thought that once I became a butterfly, I thought that everything would be perfect. I thought I would be happy, that all my problems would be gone, and it's not happening. I'm still unhappy. I still have the same experience of life, and I don't know what to do." And so the oak tree listened patiently and let the butterfly continue. And then at the end, the oak tree said, "Well, I have some good news for you. Do you want to hear it?" He said, "Of course. Good news? Yes, of course I want to hear it." And he said, "Well, the good news is you are not a butterfly. You have to choose the journey of a butterfly." Wow. And tell me what you got out of that story, Mike. I can tell you what I got out of it. Or should we just leave it, let people get what they want to get out of it?
Yeah, let's just leave it and just let people get whatever they get out of it. We'll just let people get, whatever you get. And if you want to share with us what you got out of it, then, we can, and I think we can close by just saying who we are and, leaving our contact information. You're welcome to contact us. And again, my name is Michael Brown. I'm a spiritual life coach. And what I do is I help people turn their dream into reality, like into physical reality, real reality. And I do that by having people turn their blocks into blessings, and then taking the energy of those blessings to propel them forward to manifesting the essence of whatever their dream is. And, you can get in touch with me either through my website, which is changeyourlifecoaching.com, or you can get a hold of me at youareagift.com and at www.youareagift.com. And if you go there and get a free chapter of the book that I wrote, which is You Are a Gift to the World, Blessings from My Mom. You can also get a free video e-course on my other website. And if you want to call me, and I'm putting it out to offer, I do consultations, complimentary consultations, coaching consultations. Then you can call me at 760-504-9631. And, within that consultation, we'll talk about, things that you're wanting to create and manifest and things that may be standing in your way and moving you forward to, bringing your dream into reality. And that's me. So what do you got, Linda?
I just want to conclude by saying that it's been a pleasure to be with you. And I would invite you to go to my website, Tender Loving Coaching, TLC.com. Also, you can email me at LA1CAMERON@yahoo.com. That's LA1Cameron@yahoo.com. You can also call me at 301-520-6929. And basically what my service is offer you the gift of love and compassion, and to help you feel connected to all that is life, and to serve out your purpose, whatever that may be.
That's awesome. And Linda, your website's up now?
My website is ready, TLC.com. It's Tender Loving Coaching.
TLC. TLC.com.
TLC.com.
Wow, I love that. I love that. That's a celebration right there in and of itself. Linda's website's up. Go to TLC.com. I'm going to go there myself now because I wasn't even aware that her website was up. I mean, I really, and it's abbreviated too, TLC.com?
Yes. All right. So I will say good night.
Wait. So it's www.tlc.com?
Yes.
Could I just type that in? Okay. Or you got to type out Tender Loving Coaching?
I don't know, Mike. I'm going to say good night.
Okay, I just want to know because I
turning the light on and off now.
Okay, I got it. I just want to make sure we give them the right thing. I was typing that in. Okay, I think it's tenderlovingcoaching.com. That's what it is.
And I want to thank you, Mike. I want to thank you.
Want to thank me?
Yes, I want to thank you for being present in this conversation, and I want to thank you for being present in the world as the master that you are.
Thank you so much. I fully receive that blessing, and I want to thank you for, for who you are and for being a gift to the world and being a gift to me and just every human being that you come into contact with. Like I've totally seen how you've been a gift to everybody that you touch. So thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night, sweetie. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.